You think you know what it's like to be the wife of a Yakuza boss, but you have no idea. Let me show you. You are 19, working as a hostess at a nightclub in Kabukicho. The drinks are expensive, the men are powerful. And then he walks in. You recognize Kenji instantly. You grew up together in a decrepit block in Saitama, two poor kids sharing stolen onigiri on the street. He walked you home every day to protect you from danger. He promised you he'd get you out of there one day. You were young and in love. Then one day, Kenji dropped out of school and disappeared. Now, he's back. He's 19 now, with a gold watch and a tailored suit. When a drunk customer grabs your arm, he doesn't shout. He just leans in, whispers to the guy softly. You spot his hand, the yubitsume, and you know he's joined the Yakuza. Within weeks, he's paying your mother's medical bills, your family's rent, he's buying you gifts. Your family quickly discover his ties, and they cut you off completely, but you don't care. You know that underneath it all, he's still the boy you knew, doing exactly what he promised you when you were kids. You're 20 when he asks you to marry him. Of course you say yes. You couldn't be happier. But the rules come quickly. Never ask where the money comes from. Never question where he goes at night or who he's with. Late one night, he comes home with blood on his shirt. You're scared and you try to ask questions, but he grabs your wrist so hard that you gasp in pain. In that moment, your heart breaks. You realize you don't know this man. That sweet little boy you loved, who promised to protect you, he's gone forever. At 21, Kenji is promoted to Wakashu, younger brother. You move into a luxury apartment in Roppongi. Designer bags, fancy dinners, expensive jewelry. You are a Yakuza wife now, in every legal and social sense. The wives gather once a month in a private dining room. Over champagne and caviar, you discuss the rules. Always check the peephole before opening the door. Keep an emergency bag packed at all times. Never ask where the money comes from. Never comment on the hostesses. You nod. You understand this is the trade-off for this glamorous lifestyle. But you're about to realize this is just the beginning. Soon, you will see just how innocent and naive you really were. Not 1 week later, the police kick your door in at dawn. They tear your home apart. You're questioned for 8 hours at the station. You say nothing. When they release you, you know you've passed your first real test. Kenji gets 18 months for assault, though he should have been put away for life. On your first visit, you tell him you're pregnant. Your daughter, Keiko, is born while her father is behind bars. When Kenji holds his baby girl for the first time, he just stares. The boy you grew up with would have cried with joy, but this man's face remains blank and cold as ice. He hands the baby back and disappears for 3 days. You are 23 years old, alone with an infant, with an absent husband who's a gangster and a criminal. But you've got 2 choices: fall to your knees or rise to the occasion. You choose to rise. You will not be a victim. Not today. At 25, Kenji rises to Kyodai, big brother, a man with real authority. You move to a penthouse with a view of the city that looks like something from a movie. The woman who hosted the wives' meetings doesn't show up for a whole month. You take her place. You learn about the wives, their husbands, their families, their secrets. You learn the architecture of the organization the way you've learned everything in this life, by watching, waiting, by being consistently underestimated. You are just the wife. You are just a mother. You are just the silly woman arranging flowers in the hallway when the important meetings happen. Nobody thinks to lower their voice around you. This is the greatest miscalculation they will ever make. It is a Tuesday evening when Kenji comes home and sits at the kitchen table without taking off his coat. This is how you know it's serious. "What's wrong?" you ask, breaking the rule for the first time in years. Kenji looks at you in surprise, but then he sighs and shakes his head. He tells you that Watanabe is becoming a problem. He's trying to undermine Kenji's position. The Wakagashira favors him, and he's afraid he's going to be replaced. You are quiet for a moment. Then you mention, casually, that Watanabe's been skimming money from the organization. His wife told you last week over her third glass of champagne. He uses it for gambling, for escorts. There are massive debts his superiors don't know about. Kenji goes still. He looks at you, really looks at you, for the first time in years. You feel the full, strange weight of his attention, undivided. What else do you know? He asks. Thanks to your intel, Watanabe is quietly removed. Kenji quickly rises the ranks. By 28, he is Shate Gashira, headquarters chief. By 31, Wakagashira, underboss, second in command. You become O Aneki, chief sister. 42 wives across the organization, and you manage every single one of them. You also manage the nightclub in Kabukicho, where you reunited with Kenji more than a decade ago. A legal business, on paper. You manage the books, the staff, the cash flow. You are good at this, very good at it, which is the point, but it's also the problem. On a Wednesday morning in November, when you turn the key in your car and feel for a split second that something is wrong, you get out. You walk 20 feet down the street. You are looking away when your car explodes. You're 34. The current Oyabun is sick. He has become like a father figure to you and to Kenji. He calls you both to his bedside. You know what's about to happen. You can already feel the transfer of power, the culmination of everything you and Kenji have worked for. It's all happening. You're so sure of it. And then he drops the wrench. Tanaka will be the next Oyabun, he reveals tiredly. You conceal your shock. Tanaka is the Shate Gashira, the second lieutenant, one rank below Kenji. How could this be? But Kenji simply bows his head and nods obediently. And through your heartbreak, so do you. The Oyabun starts coughing. Concerned, you take his hand and tell him you will make him some of your healing okayu, a rice porridge that your grandmother would make when you were sick. You bring it to him later, spoon-feed it to him lovingly. He is like the father you never had. The next morning, the Oyabun is dead. His wife weeps in your arms. She tells you that Kenji is to replace him as Oyabun. It's clear that she knows nothing about his plans for Tanaka. Nobody does. The Sakazuki ceremony is held 3 weeks later, in a private room of a ryokan. At Kenji's insistence, you sit in your place beside him while, one by one, dozens of men kneel before your husband and drink from the same cup. When it is over, Kenji stands, and the room bows to him as one, the Oyabun. For a second, you lock eyes with Kenji, and you're surprised to see fear. But you know he's not afraid of being Oyabun. He's afraid of you, because he knows what you did. He knows you slipped poison into the okayu, spoon-fed it to him yourself. You murdered him so that Kenji could stand there as supreme leader of the Yakuza. You smile at him. You're welcome, you say. But you really shouldn't have bothered, because 2 years later, Kenji's car explodes outside of your home. He is dead before the ambulance arrives. He's 36 years old. The thing nobody tells you about being a Yakuza wife is what happens when you are no longer Yakuza. A week after Kenji's death, your driver doesn't show up. The accountant visits, telling you the properties were held in the organization's name. The accounts are frozen. By the end of the month, you have been moved out of the house. You were only valuable while Kenji was alive. You're cut off, swift and severe. You and Keiko, now 15, move back to your old apartment block in Saitama, the place Kenji promised he'd get you out of. For the first time in decades, you allow yourself to break down and cry. You get a job at a ramen shop to make ends meet. You can't help but wonder how this all happened. One moment, you were living in a penthouse in Roppongi, Cartier glistening around your neck. Now, you are almost 40 years old, widowed, and a single mother living in a seedy apartment block in Saitama, scrubbing dishes at 3 a.m. But you've got two choices: fall to your knees or rise to the occasion. You choose to rise. You will not be a victim. Not today.
If you loved this sneak peek into the life of a Yakuza wife, you're going to want to click the video on your screen right now.
because we take you inside the world's wildest and most unbelievable lives, all from a first-person point of view that puts you right in the center of the story. Don't miss it. Your next adventure starts now.